Imagine standing at the foot of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, its stone facade a dizzying tapestry of saints and demons, its towers clawing at the sky. Now, teleport to the Seagram Building in New York, a sleek, bronze and glass prism. Perfectly rectilinear and silent in its elegance, these two structures represent not just different eras, but different worlds of thought. One is an epic poem written in stone, the other is a business memo written in steel and glass. This is the story of Gothic versus modern architecture. It's more than a style comparison, it's a tale of how humanity's relationship with technology, faith, and itself changed over centuries. In this video, we're not just looking at buildings, we're decoding the DNA of two philosophies that shaped our skylines. We'll break down how a Gothic cathedral works like a stone skeleton and how a modernist box champions the concept of truth to materials. By the end, you'll see the profound dialogue between the ornate and the plain, the vertical and the horizontal, the divine and the human. Let's begin with the engine of Gothic architecture, the structural revolution. Emerging in 12th century France, Gothic architecture was the medieval equivalent of a tech startup disrupting the Romanesque style. Its goal was audacious: to build taller, to let in more light, and to create an overwhelming sense of heavenly aspiration. How did they achieve this with just stone and mortar? Through a brilliant system of thrust and counter-thrust. The key innovation was the rib vault. Unlike the heavy, continuous barrel vaults of the Romanesque, the rib vault concentrated the weight of the ceiling onto specific points. This weight was then carried down by slender columns, freeing up the walls to become non-structural. But all that outward thrust from the vaults had to go somewhere. Enter the most iconic Gothic invention, the flying buttress. These elegant, external stone arms acted as braces, channeling the thrust away from the walls and down into the ground. This exoskeleton was the secret. It allowed walls to become mere curtains of stained glass, transforming the interior into a kaleidoscope of colored light intended to represent the divine light of God. A pro tip for identifying Gothic architecture is to look for this skeletal structure: the ribs, the piers, and the flying buttresses all working together in a visible, logical system. If Gothic architecture is about verticality and divine drama, modern architecture, born in the early 20th century, is its stark opposite. It emerged from a world reshaped by industrialization, world wars, and a loss of faith in old ornamentation. The modernist mantra, coined by Louis Sullivan and championed by the Bauhaus school, was form follows function. This was a radical purge. Decoration was a crime. A building's appearance should be a direct and honest result of its purpose, its internal layout, and the materials used. This led to the famous international-style flat roofs, smooth white walls, ribbon windows, and an open, flexible floor plan. The primary materials shifted from stone to the industrial triumvirate: steel, glass, and reinforced concrete, a steel frame, much like the Gothic stone skeleton. Meant walls no longer had to be load-bearing, but instead of filling them with stained glass, modernists like Mies van der Rohe used vast planes of clear, transparent glass to create his skin and bones aesthetic. His famous phrase, "less is more," became the battle cry against the more is more ethos of previous centuries. A common drafting mistake in early modernism was to prioritize the pure form over human comfort, leading to poorly lit and ventilated spaces, a problem later styles like postmodernism would deliberately rebel against. The philosophical chasm between these styles is even more revealing. Gothic architecture is symbolic and narrative. Every gargoyle, every statue, every floral carving was a Bible for the poor, telling stories of scripture and morality to an illiterate populace. The entire building was a symbolic journey from the dark nave towards the bright altar, representing the soul's path to salvation. The overwhelming height was designed to make you feel small, to humble you before God. Modern architecture, in contrast, is utilitarian and universal. It rejected symbolism in favor of creating a machine for living in, as Le Corbusier declared. His houses were designed with the same efficiency as an ocean liner or a car. The goal was to improve daily life for the masses through clean, sanitary, and rational design. This was architecture for the age of democracy and industry, not for the age of monarchy and the church. It sought not to humble you, but to liberate you from darkness, from clutter, from the weight of history itself. Despite their stark differences, a fascinating parallel exists: the pursuit of structural honesty. A Gothic cathedral doesn't hide its flying buttresses, it celebrates them as part of its aesthetic. Similarly, a modern building like the Pompidou Center in Paris turns its structure and services inside out, painting them bright colors and putting them on full display. Both styles, in their own way, believed in showing how the building stands up. The Gothic architects were masters of stone, pushing it to its absolute physical limits to create a spiritual experience. The Modernists were masters of steel and concrete, using their tensile strength and plasticity to create a new, functionalist aesthetic for a new world. To summarize the key takeaways: 1. Gothic is vertical, symbolic, and uses a stone skeleton of rib vaults and flying buttresses to achieve height and light. 2. Modern is horizontal, utilitarian, and uses a steel or concrete frame to create open, flexible spaces based on the form follows function principle. 3. Gothic tells a story of faith through ornament, while modern rejects decoration in favor of a universal, machine-like efficiency. And 4. Despite their opposition, both share a profound commitment to structural honesty and the innovative use of the materials of their time. Now I want to hear from you in the comments below. Which style resonates more with you, the inspiring narrative of Gothic or the clean, minimalist logic of modern? Can you think of a building that beautifully blends these two philosophies? Your perspective is what makes architecture so dynamic. If this journey through architectural history was enlightening, please give this video a like and subscribe.